Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back to Mirrors. It has been a little while since I recorded one of these, so this little recap I'm doing here at the start is just as much for me this time as it is for y'all. So anyway, last time, after David and Susanna arrived at the Dark Sorcerer stronghold, some stuff happened, and then Clark and Vince were captured, and David agreed to have them killed for information on the Northern tribes. And neither of the outcomes of that event were especially good for David in the end. So why don't we return back to that fateful decision, and instead of doing that, how about we not have these men killed in cold blood for what turns out to be literally no reason? Maybe that'll turn out better for us. Just as a little treat. The two detectives. Nice. Mumble immediately out of the gate. Let me try that again. The two detectives had saved his life. David could not possibly inflict mortal pain upon them. David, this could be our last chance to find out who their client is. I can't do this, Susanna. These men saved our lives. I can't kill them. The Northern tribes may be coming to kill you as we speak. If you were to die, I don't think I could keep going. I've made my choice. Please, untie them. Susanna understood that David would not change his mind, and asked Greg to untie the two detectives. Love that there's a dark sorcerer named Greg, of all things. Very mundane. As Clark and Vince were being untied, David spoke to them. I know you're just doing your job, but your client obviously wants me dead. I want you to promise to stay away from us. That's right. Your client is a murderer. I don't care if you're detectives. If you keep associating with them, we're going to find you and kill you. Oh, I'm so done with him. I'm actually a big fan of David's. I'm terribly sorry our work put you in danger. Please, forgive us. Name's Clark. I know you saved our lives and all, but I still can't talk about our client. Here, take this. I swear to withdraw from the investigation. I'm men of my word. Clark took out his notebook and flipped through the pages. Then he wrote something, signed it, and handed the slip of paper to David. Come on, Vince. Let's get the hell out of here. And David, see you at your next concert. Clark and Vince hurried out of the room. David looked at the paper Clark gave him and gasped. David? What did he write? He wouldn't talk about him, but he wrote the client's name and address. They weren't Northern tribesmen. They were actually your fans. I almost did something terrible, understatement. After what happened to you, Everything's fine. At any rate, we know where this man is. There's no doubt he's with the Northern tribes. Let's go. This time I won't hesitate to take the pills and kill someone indirectly. Just so we're clear that that's what's going to happen here. Please, wait. They know your faces. If they see your approach, they'll run away. Let us deal with this. We'll capture him and bring him to you. Mr. Lands, you and the others stay here and keep David safe. We must leave now, before they realize something's wrong. Susanna, stay alert. We don't know when the King of the North could attack again. Greg's car drove off at high speed. The headlights faded into the darkness. That night, David was fraught with anticipation and anxiousness. He was considering getting drunk to spend the night, but Susanna gave him sleeping pills instead. And then nothing else happened and everything was fine. Kidding, of course. Wouldn't be much of a game if that were the case. She said, awkwardly waiting for the next section to load. Possibly due to the sleeping pills, David woke up the next morning feeling refreshed. It's almost as if that's what those were for. Susanna, who had been sleeping at his side, was not there. David left the room and went down the stairs. He could smell the fragrance of coffee coming from somewhere. He followed the smell into a large room. In the dining room, he found Susanna cooking.
Good morning, David. I was going to wake you up once breakfast was ready.
Those pills work great as usual. I slept like a baby. Where is everyone?
They're on the rooftop with guns, keeping an eye out for Northern Tribes' raids. Mr. Land said we needed to hold the fort until Greg is back.
I'm sorry to give you all so much trouble. Because of this blood that flows in my veins, we can't even sit together at the table.
We're all bound to our fate. We sorcerers are simply following our path. From the moment we were born, we were destined to be different from normal people.
So, unless I become the Devil King and defeat the King of the North, we... Loud sound warning. I think. Persistent synthesizer tone warning, anyway. David dropped the coffee cup he was holding. He grasped his chest tight and slumped to the floor. My chest! It feels like someone's pushing a needle through it. Susanna approached David, touching him in order to help him up.
David, what's wrong? Does your chest hurt?
Don't touch me, it hurts. Someone's pushing a needle through my heart.
A needle? It's the King of the North. He's cursing you. David, don't move. I'll be right back.
Susanna ran down the corridor that led to the basement. She returned with 4 clay dolls and a heavy book. Susanna drew a compass on the floor, with David at the center, and placed the 4 dolls at each cardinal point. Then she opened the book, and she began to chant a spell. She was chanting loudly, towards the wall. Had it been night, the Belmar comet would be visible in that direction. Her forehead was dripping with sweat. Susanna was devoting all of her strength to create a barrier that would protect David from the King of the North's spell. David was sickly pale, and his eyesight blurry. In his weak state, he did not react as the south clay figure started glowing red. Susanna's spell came to an end. Her strength spent, she lost consciousness, collapsing beside David. The pain faded from David's chest. Understanding that the spell of the King of the North had been broken, he reached out for Susanna. What are you doing, David? You must slay the Northern Tribes. The Star of Darkness will leave soon. Why do you hesitate? You have inherited my blood. Do you not crave the power of the Devil King? Do you wish to succumb to the King of the North? I should not have pinned my hopes on someone unwilling to kill the men of the North. I must entrust my will to a future generation. If the King of the North kills you, he will grow even more powerful. If you are unwilling to kill the Northern Tribes, you leave me no choice. I must kill you myself. When David opened his eyes, he saw King Hroth looming over him. David's body was numb, and he could not move. As if roused by his scream, Susanna opened her eyes.
David, are you alright?
Yeah. Thanks to you. I can't believe King Hroth was going to kill me.
King Hroth? No, that wasn't him. That must have been a spell of the King of the North. He must have been trying to deceive you.
It was after you broke his spell. King Hroth showed up, saying he has no use for someone unwilling to kill the northern tribes. He said he was going to pin his hopes on the next generation.
I see. He must be angry because there's little time left. He probably wants you to steal your resolve.
So now I have not one, but two powerful kings after my life. Susanna, are you alright? You don't look so well. Susanna forced herself to walk to her chair and sit normally. She did not want David to realize just how tired she was.
I'm fine. I think I'll make some more coffee.
It took all of David's strength to raise himself up and sit on a chair. David and Susanna were too tired even to chat. They were sitting on their chairs, looking at each other, waiting for the exhaustion to pass. After a few hours, the room was getting darker. Susanna had finally regained her composure and talked to David.
Oh my gosh, what am I doing? I need to turn on the light.
Susanna picked up a lamp and turned it on.
How do you feel, David?
I feel better now, all things considered. I wanted to lie down, but I'm afraid King Hroth will show up again if I fall asleep. Why don't you go get some rest, Susanna?
No, I can't do that. What if you're attacked by the King of the North while I'm sleeping?
Well, we won't be able to hold out much longer like this. We can't stay awake forever, but who knows what the kings will do if I fall asleep. I'm sick of living like this. At that moment, they could hear the voices of Mr. and Mrs. Lance, who were hurrying their way. Mr. Lance threw the door open. Out of breath, he addressed David. Greg is back. They brought Jeff's, I'm sure of it. At the news, they all hurried outside. Was that the voice I gave Mr. Lance? It's been a hot minute since I had to voice him. Oh well, it's probably fine. Excuse me. I should mention now, at the end of this little scene, there's going to be another little choice that'll lead to two ending branches. We're going to be doing both of them tonight in this video, since both of those endings are rather short compared to what we've seen so far. I'm saying this now because that scene is going to be very loud. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Anyway, David joined the others outside the castle. 4 cars pulled into the yard. Greg got out of his car and opened the trunk. Inside was Jeff's, the man who had hired Clark and Vince. We got him. Let's bring him to the basement. Was that Greg or Lance? Or the other guy? Whatever. Emily hurried to light the candles along the hallway. It's been too long since I made these. Once in the basement, they woke the unconscious Jeffs with smelling salts. Is it just me, or does he look like a street musician from the 40s? Anyway. Here we are, Jeffs. You pretend to be a simple fortune teller, but we know you're a sorcerer at the service of the northern tribes. How about you do yourself a favor and answer our questions honestly? Who are you people? Why did you bring me here? I don't know anything about any tribes. I'm just a simple fortune teller.
We know you hired a detective agency to keep an eye on me. Tell us why you did it.
I don't know what you're talking about. Let me go! Again, not sure if that's the voice I gave him the last time I had to voice this dude, but I'm rolling with it.
In this photo, you're shown talking to the detective. And in this one. And in this one. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Now answer me.
Susanna showed Jeffs the photos they took of him talking to the detective.
Someone must have ordered you to investigate me. Who was it?
I don't know his name. He was paying me a lot of money to do it, but I don't know anything else. It's true, I swear. I was only in it for the money. He's a northern sorcerer. Of course he'll never say anything about the King of the North willingly. The king's bound to find out sooner or later. Let's force him to confess with a spell. The confession spell? Don't do it, you murderers! If I say anything, the King of the North will make me go through hell before he kills me. Please, don't use the confession spell.
You're leaving us no choice. If you talk willingly, we promise to protect you from his retaliation.
You fools! You know nothing of his terrible powers! Listen to me. Let me take David to him, and I'll put in a good word for you. I'll ask him to spare you.
We're done here. David, take the pills. Letting him go would only spell disaster.
Susanna gave David the pills. Jeff's eyes widened, and his lips were trembling. He knew very well the effects of the confession spell. The others surrounded Jeffs and looked towards David and Susanna. Do y'all remember what happened to the two detectives on the previous narrative branch? That's about to happen now, again, to a different person. Just, brace yourself for that. Also, it's gonna be loud. Susanna began to chant a spell, quietly. David's consciousness was slipping away. Ah! Stop it! I beg you! My body, my head, it burns! Jeffs fell onto the floor, writhing in pain. Ah! My king! I beg of you! Save me! Archbishop of St. Radford's Church, Lord Mellis! Save me, Lord Mellis, King of the North! Suddenly, blood poured out copiously from Jeffs' face. No, not just his face. It was pouring from his entire body. The floor was flooding with the crimson liquid. He's dead. He was killed by a death curse. Horrified by the events, they backed away from the corpse. They could not turn away from the scene, as if they were inside a nightmare.
It's done, David. Jeff's told us about the King of the North. David? What's wrong? You should be conscious again now.
Well done, Susanna. It is I, the Devil King. My blood has been roused, and has started taking over the blood of the man called David. By the time the sun has risen, he will be mine. As soon as I get a little drinky, because boy, all that yelling wore me out. And then I dropped the cap to my water bottle. It was very distressing.
What? You're supposed to give him your power, not possess him. What's going to happen to him?
Worry not. David's body will remain unchanged. I am simply replacing his blood with mine. Then his soul shall be erased to make place for mine.
Erased? But what about Elenovision, which is definitely the most important thing to worry about in this scene right now?
What does the Devil King care about the songs of you mortals? I have come to kill the King of the North. Once my goal is accomplished, you will be free of your duties. Do what you want with your lives.
You deceived us, Devil King. You were only supposed to give him your powers. David, wake up! Come back to me!
Silence, wench! It was you who put his mind to sleep. Kill the King of the North, and you can have his body back. Satisfied? Susanna started chanting a spell that would return David's consciousness. That is enough, Susanna. Your duty is over. Leave at once, lest you wish to die. No mortal can withstand the battle between me and the King of the North. Greg and the others rushed out of the room, in fear of David. No, the Devil King. Susanna alone remained. She ignored the words of the Devil King while chanting her spell. Cease your spell at once! Are you betraying me, Susanna? Ugh! Curses! David is regaining control.
Susanna, help me! Where am I? I can hear your voice, but it's pitch black. I can't see anything. David, I'm here. I'm in front of you. Look at me. Susanna, I can't move my body. What's happening to me?
David raised his arms and closed his hands around Susanna's neck. Die, Susanna! Again, that thing I said earlier about the scene being very loud, that's about to start.
David, you're strangling me. Put your arms down.
David could hear Susanna's voice. He could not see what was happening, but he focused his mind on his arms. If he could help Susanna by lowering it, then he would do so. Relax your body, David. The power of the Devil King is flowing into you. Do you not crave power? Would you rather be killed by the King of the North? David heard the voice of King Hroth. He realized his abnormal condition was caused by the power of the Devil King. David tried relaxing his body. Then, he heard Susanna's scream, and he recalled her words. As his consciousness faded away, David had to decide what to do. Yes, really, this moment right now is an ending decision point. As I said earlier, we're doing both of them. But we'll do the sensible thing first. David's hands released Susanna's throat as she collapsed to the floor. Susanna, your actions go against the dark laws. Do you realize this? Susanna, though coughing violently, stared at David. No, at the Devil King with anger.
I became a dark sorceress only to help David. If you're going to erase his mind, to hell with the dark laws. I'll do everything I can to bring him back. Devil King, you said you would give me power, but not only are you trying to usurp my body, you even tried to kill Susanna. Why?
My power can only be unleashed once my blood fully replaces yours. Erasing your consciousness is but one of the steps. Your fate has been sealed the moment you've witnessed the blood of the northern tribes. Surrender yourself to me.
No, I don't want to. Susanna, where are you? I can't see you.
I told you to surrender. The blood in your veins is no longer yours, and your consciousness is fading. Only I have control over your senses. Susanna stood up again and started casting a spell that would bring David's consciousness back.
Don't give up, David. I'm going to bring you back.
It is futile, Susanna. Your meager powers will accomplish nothing. David's blood will not return. You are simply wasting your energy. Ignoring the Devil King, Susanna continued chanting her spell with everything she had. Then, there was a change in David's expression.
I can see you. Thank you, Susanna. That's enough now. We can never beat him. The Devil King is too strong.
Susanna did not reply, continuing to chant the spell instead. They both knew that they were reaching their limit. Tears streamed from Susanna's eyes. Her voice was unsteady. The Devil King was not interfering, seemingly allowing her to complete her final heroic act.
Stop it, Susanna! Any more than that and you'll die! Don't do this!
Hearing his voice, she stopped chanting her spell.
I don't care if I die now, because I could talk to you again, one last time. I wish this moment could last forever, but I don't want to see you die. Let's leave this world together, with this feeling in our hearts.
Susanna tried getting closer to David. Right then, David grabbed his chest, screaming in pain.
Ugh! A needle is piercing my heart!
David was writhing in pain.
David, what's wrong? Is your chest... it must be the King of the North.
What? The King of the North? Curses! He struck while David's consciousness was in control. He might actually kill him. Ugh! My blood! David's blood, roused by the pain, is taking over my blood. Am I going to be defeated by the King of the North? Susanna, you must cast a defensive barrier. If you will not, David's blood will boil and burst out of this body. Seeing David suffering, Susanna had no choice but to obey. She left to gather the tools she needed to create the barrier. When she returned, she was not sure whether she should actually proceed or not. What was the point of saving David from the King of the North, only for his mind to be destroyed by the Devil King? What are you doing, Susanna? Are you going to stand there and watch David suffer?
Even if I cast the barrier, he's going to lose his mind forever. I wouldn't be saving him. I'd just be exchanging one death for another.
Are you saying it is better for him to go through this torture? Without his consciousness, he will no longer feel anything, including pain. If you truly love him, then cast the barrier and spare him the agony. In tears, Susanna drew a magic circle and started chanting her spell. Cease that pathetic whining! You must devote mind and body to the spell if you wish to spare David from his torment! Seeing David squirm in pain, Susanna focused her mind on the spell. Finally, his expression relaxed.
The pain is leaving. It must be your barrier. Thanks, Susanna. And goodbye.
Devil King, if you want my body, hurry up and take it. At this rate, Susanna's going to die! David's blood went still, and the blood of the Devil King was replacing it once more. David's consciousness began to fade. He seemed to have accepted his fate.
David, don't go! What am I going to do without you?
David is no more. His memories are gone. I no longer require the barrier. David has truly become the Devil King. Susanna, I forgive you for breaking the dark laws. In return, you must serve as my personal slave forever. Susanna's eyes were no longer looking at David. They were looking at someone who used to be David. Pour the blood of the dead northern tribesmen onto a plate. I shall reverse the flow of the spell of the King of the North. He will feel the agony of his own magic. Without a word, Susanna obeyed the Devil King's order. She poured the blood of the corpse into a plate. You should be ashamed to call yourself a dark sorceress with your meager knowledge of magic. Observe, Susanna. This is how you cast the dark spell reversal. David, the Devil King, chanted a spell. Then, he threw the bloody plate south. The stone wall, hit by the plate, was stained crimson with blood. Then, blood started pouring from the wall. It poured copiously, as if the stone wall itself was alive. Could that have been the blood of the King of the North? The blood of the King of the North has been severed. How pathetic to expire from a mere spell reversal. Perhaps time has diluted his bloodline, weakening his magic. I suppose the same has happened to all sorcerers, dark and northern alike. Susanna, send a summon to all sorcerers in the world. I shall establish a dark kingdom. Any country that will not submit shall be annihilated with my forbidden arts. Rejoice, Susanna. Your beloved David will become the king of the world. Susanna was not listening to the Devil King. She approached the man that used to be David and hurled herself at him, piercing his heart with a dagger she had been hiding.
The blood of the King of the North has been severed. I won't let you disgrace David's body any longer. Brand me as a traitor if you want. I don't fear your punishment.
The Devil King, his chest pierced, slowly pointed a finger towards Susanna. She screamed as blood started oozing out of her body. She collapsed, squirming in a pool of her own blood. She did her best to resist the urge of crying in pain. She did not want to give the Devil King that satisfaction. Now, she could only await death. Shortly after, David's body collapsed, falling onto Susanna's blood. Agonizing, she crawled towards him. As death was upon them, they managed to grab each other's hand. As their consciousness faded, they had forgotten their pain. They left this world together, smiling. The next day, a large crowd had gathered at St. Radford's Church in Stratford, south of the castle where these events have occurred. They were mourning the death of Archbishop Mellis. The credits are the same across all the endings, I'm pretty sure, so we're just gonna do a cheeky little reload real quick. Now let's do the stupid thing. Excuse me. Deep inside, David wanted the power to defeat the King of the North. As soon as he realized this, Susanna's spell lost its effect. Once again, he was strangling her. David's hands were tightening around Susanna's neck. David's consciousness was desperately trying to let her go.
I can't control my arms. Why?
David focused his entire consciousness on his arms. Though only slightly, his fingers were releasing Susanna's throat.
David, the Devil King is trying to erase your consciousness. He was only supposed to give me power. He tricked us all. He was always after your body.
David's consciousness wavered at Susanna's words. The blood of the Devil King assaulted David's blood, and Susanna was once again being strangled. Susanna, as a dark sorceress, you should have known that whoever breaks the dark laws must receive the ultimate punishment.
Stop it! I'll give you my body if you want it so much. But if you kill Susanna, I'll bite my tongue.
I bite my thumb at thee, sir. Sorry. Do you believe you can make such a threat when you have no control over any part of your body? My blood has already taken over. Allow me to lend you my eyesight. Behold! David's fingers had gouged Susanna's throat. With a hair-raising sound, her neck snapped. Did you see, David? By all accounts, you have killed her. Worry not, your consciousness will soon fade away. You will not have to mourn her loss long. Come dawn, this body shall overflow with my powers. Then, under the vigilant eye of the Star of Darkness, the blood of the King of the North shall be severed once and for all. David was losing consciousness and could no longer see Susanna. He could only hear the Devil King. He seemed so far away.
Ugh! This pain in my chest. Ugh! It must be the spell of that accursed King of the North.
David fell to the floor.
I need more time. Ugh! Damn you, King of the North! Oh, my heart!
The consciousness of the Devil King was overwhelmed by agony. However, David himself could no longer feel pain.
What's this?
The northern spell has been broken. I no longer suffer. The King of the North must be drained of strength. Victory is mine! The Devil King raised his arms, shouting his joy towards the Star of Darkness. Then, David's body once again fell to the floor, writhing with pain.
I cannot move. I feel no pain, and yet my body is writhing uncontrollably. Ugh! My blood! My blood is being overtaken by David's blood! How could this be? Ugh! My blood feels like it's burning! My heart is going to burst! The spell of the King of the North has no effect on my blood, but it stirs David's, rousing it. Before long, he will regain consciousness only to die. And with his death, my blood will be severed. I have long waited for the Star of Darkness to shine upon the planets. If I had not killed Susanna, I could have had her cast a defensive barrier. Such a terrible mistake!
That's right, dude, you fucked up! And now you are reaping the consequences. Me sowing, hell yeah, this rules. Me reaping, no, what the fuck? Suddenly, David stopped struggling, and all was quiet. Maybe his heart had finally ruptured, or... No, he was not dead. David was pushing himself up. The magic of the King of the North has vanished. He must have depleted his very life to cast so many spells in a row. However, that would be a problem. If he died on his own, I wouldn't be able to take my revenge. Good. I still sense the warmth of David's blood.
The spell of the King of the North is gone, and I'm alive. Devil King, do you hear me? You killed Susanna, and I'm going to avenge her!
With his consciousness in control, David moved his body up the stairs. He left the basement and went further up. The Devil King had no energy left to stop him. The King of the North beat you. Look! My blood has been revived and I can control my body. Why don't you try moving it? Come on, I'm waiting! You fool! As long as the Star of Darkness exists, my blood is eternal. In fact, my blood is already taking over yours as we speak. Gasping for air, David raised his eyes towards the top of the castle. With the little strength he had left, he forced himself to climb the stairs.
Devil King, your rebirth came too late. Now that I'm here, at the top of the castle, I can follow after Susanna. No matter how bright the Star of Darkness shines, the Devil King can't resurrect if I'm dead. Stop it, David! Have you lost your mind?
Though his limbs felt numb, David managed to climb atop the castle's wall. Holding on to his fading consciousness, he shouted at the Belmare Comet.
Hroth, the Devil King! I don't know how many have suffered, how many have died to satisfy your thirst for revenge. But your hateful bloodline ends with me!
Thus, David threw himself over the wall. The consciousness of Hroth, the Devil King, cried out, gripped by the terror of death. The next day, a large crowd had gathered at St. Radford's Church in Stratford, south of the castle where these events have occurred. They were mourning the death of Archbishop Mellis.